Hello friends, I'm Anita and I'm back with another video. Today it's time for my first proper booktube video of the month, apart from my TBR. Today it's time for a mid-month wrap-up. I'm going to talk a little bit about the things that I've been finishing over the month so far, and also because I feel like I'm letting you down with the booktube content. So yeah, I have finished five books at this point, and I will let you know what they are. They're all audio, so I haven't finished any physical books, and I'm gonna get my cat. She thinks that she can be allowed to jump onto the kitchen table, and I am not letting her. So the first book that I finished was The Stitches and Witches, which is by Nancy Warren. This is the second book in the Vampire Knitting Club series, and this is a cozy mystery series, but it also features urban fantasy things. It's sort of a mixture between a regular cozy mystery and urban fantasy. We're following this main character who is the owner of this yarn store, and finds that after her grandmother passed away, and finds that everything isn't as she seems, and there's a knitting club, but the knitting club is filled with vampires. And the more she finds out about herself, she also finds out that she also has some magical powers as well. So this is where we are getting into another mystery. Someone is poisoned in the coffee shop next door, and she has to figure out what happened to them. And also because it seems that she has something to do with it, and obviously she doesn't. So yeah, that was the mystery element of it, and I really enjoyed this one again. It wasn't as good as the first one. The first one was really amazing, but I still think it was a very, very fun cozy mystery, and it definitely lived up to the cozy mystery vibe, what I expect of a cozy mystery at this point. So I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. And I ended up finishing the last and final Discworld book, and that is Shepherd's Crown by Pratchett. And I can't believe I've read 42 books in the Discworld now, and I've read the last one, and I enjoyed my time with it so much. It was such a... I think it rounded up the witches' characters so well. I think overall they rounded up the Discworld well in a way. We had a character death in here, which was definitely at this point, I think, I don't know if it was expected, but it wasn't such a big surprise. But it definitely leaves things in a way that it makes it difficult for the other people to go on and figuring out where their place is in the whole world now. And Tiffany especially has to figure out her role now. In this situation, but I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed how all of the characters came together in this one, and ended up really enjoying it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I didn't think that I would give it that in the beginning, but I did. I didn't feel any different in this compared to other Discworld novels. So yeah, and it's weird to think about that he was suffering from Alzheimer's and probably couldn't remember a lot, but still was able to write this book. I find it really difficult, but I'm really pleased about it as well, because he definitely did his job well. And I'm still so sad that he passed away at such an early age. He could have written so many more, and it's like it says in the afterword that he had so many more books in his head, book ideas in his head. So it wasn't the end of the Discworld necessarily, but it ended up being the end of the Discworld because of his passing away. But I'm looking forward to diving into more Terry Pratchett stuff, and I'm looking forward to rereading all of the Terry Pratchett books now. But it was definitely a bit of a strange feeling when I read the last words in this, and I was a bit emotional about it actually. But 5 out of 5 stars for this one. I really enjoyed it. Next up, I finished up Ophie's Ghost, which is by Justina, Ireland. This is the first book in a middle grade series. So Ophie's Ghost follows Ophie, who is a young girl. She finds that one day her dad comes and says that her and her mother has to leave this instant. There's a danger, there's someone coming, and they have to leave. But her mother don't understand what's going on, because he keeps saying that her dad is talking to her, but she can't see him, and it turns out that the dad is actually dead and she's seeing his ghost. And this sort of sends them into this world where she's able to see ghosts. But then she gets, because of her dad's death, her and her mother has to take up a new job, because they can't live where they are now without the support of their husband's money as well. So she has to let go of her dream. Her mother has to let go of her dream and has to take over the job as a maid in this house. and in this house we have this woman who is she's a white woman, and she definitely has her ideas about black people. Yeah, it definitely was a bit uncomfortable hearing her saying some different things, but the mother said that the girl had to endure and not speak against her, even though it were very offensive things that she was saying. But anyway, she takes up this job as a maid and figures out there's actually a ghost in this house who's helping her with tips on how to treat this woman, so that she becomes really happy with it, because apparently everyone beforehand had been terrible and not be able to live up to the standards. So she gets some tips from this ghost and end up actually doing pretty well. But she also finds out that she wants to help figuring out what happened to the ghost and why she's not able to leave, and that sort of sets this into what the actual plot is about. So yeah, I end up enjoying this one. I think it has some similarities to V. Schwab's or Victoria Schwab's ghost series. What's it called? The one with there was one of them called Rattled Bones, I think, and I've forgotten what it's called right now, but Tunnel and Bones is one of them. And Tunnel and Bones, I think this one, while I like Victoria Schwab's middle grade, it was good enough. I think that this one definitely was better. I think the themes that it was explored in this one was better as well. Seeing it from a black person's perspective was also just added some extra to it. It was definitely not easy with all of the racist ideals or racist comments in the but I enjoyed it, as I said, and giving it 4 out of 5 stars. The 4th book that I finished was Root Magic by, oh my god, I forgot to write down her name, but this is also another middle grade, and this was amazing. I super love this one. This was really, really good. This follows this girl who is training to figure out what root magic is. It's again one that's set back in time. I figure it's around the 50s, 60s or something like that in the US. I forget the time. And there's not a sheriff, but a deputy in town who is harassing all of the black families in the town, destroying their properties and everything. But at the same time, she's trying to figure out what this root magic is and deal with that, and actually finds out how many things she could do, and delves into that. I really, really enjoyed this one. It was so fun. It was also difficult to read at times. Again, there was a lot of racist themes in here, and it was definitely not fun or easy to see that. But again, I think it was so well written, and it was also humorous at times, but it was definitely also emotionally at times. And we had this main character who is a twin, and her brother also is working in root magic, and I like the twin relationships in this one. I actually think that they did that well, and was not just necessarily a plot device. So I ended up giving this book actually, I think, 5 out of 5 stars. So definitely enjoyed this one. The last and final thing that I finished so far this month was Wicked. Shades of Wicked. I need to look at my cat. If she could just understand when I'm saying her she can't do things and actually listens to me, that would be great. Anyway, so the last and final book that I've read so far this month was Shades of Wicked by Jeanine Frost. This is the first book in the Night Rebel series, and this is a sub-series to the Night Hunters universe. It's the latest one that happens in this one. We're following the character Ian, who we are introduced to, I think, already in one of the first Night Hunters books. But in the Night Hunters books, he's definitely in the beginning known as a sort of very grey, morally grey person and a villain type person. So seeing him in as a main character in this was actually refreshing, and I have also come to know him more and more over the series, obviously. Shades of Wicked, following Ian. Ian is a vampire, and we're also following another character who's half vampire and half another species. We don't really know at the beginning what she is, but we get to know more and more about it as the time progresses. She's sort of hiding it from people because it's a very big secret that what she also is. And obviously it turns into a romance between these two. And I ended up really, really enjoying this one. It was so much fun being back in this world. I don't know exactly what my rating is. I haven't written it down. but I'm figuring it's on a 4.5 to a 5 stars. I actually really enjoyed it, and I keep enjoying these books by Jeanine Frost. They are all pretty good. I always find them entertaining. The only problem with the Night Prince series was that it was 3 books and it didn't need to be 3 books, so I worry a little bit about this series being more than 1 book as well, but this did end up in a cliffhanger type way, so I definitely see the potential for a different book. But I don't know if a 3-book series will be a thing that is good for this series, but we'll figure it out as time progresses in the series, I guess. So I'm really happy about that, and I know that the 2nd book in the series is actually out now, so I can go and check it out. So those are all the things that I've finished over the past month, not year, in the past year. No, over the past month, in month of January so far. But I also have a couple of books that I've been working on, and I know my cat is on the kitchen table again. I'm gonna move her. So I have 2 books that are physical books or ebooks I'm working on. The first one is Claimed by the first one is Dance with the Devil by Sheldon Kenyon. I have so little left. I feel like I'll finish it tonight. I have about 25 pages maybe left of the book, and I definitely want to finish it today. So I'm going to text Jeanine and on Instagram and tell her that I'm finishing it today, and she can catch up whenever, because I want it out of the way. I'm enjoying it more than the first one, but I don't know what it is about this. I haven't been good at picking up my books this past month. But then I have also started, and I'm halfway through Claimed by the Highland Warrior by Michelle Willingham. This is the first book in my Harlequin book project of the month, where I'm reading Harlequin historicals. And this is what is set in, I'm not actually sure at the time, Middle Ages, early Middle Ages, I don't know when this is. I should pay more attention to that, but we're following 2 characters, and one of them is a man who has escaped some enslavement, and the other woman is his wife, and she thinks that he passed away, so she had actually remarried, but the man that she remarried had also passed away at this point, so he gets back, and she's super shocked to see him because she obviously has been believing that he was dead. And then things moves on from there. Things are happening. I don't want to say too much. I'll go more in depth in my wrap up. And then I'm also listening to The Two Towers by J.R. Tolkien. This is obviously the 2nd part of the Lord of the Rings series, and I am about 100 pages into this one. More than that, because I've listened to something today. I don't know exactly my spot. And finally, I am also listening to a Merle Blaze by Luna Andrews, the 2nd book in the... Actually, it's the 5th book in the Hidden Legacy series, but the 2nd book that follows our new main character. So those are all the things that I've been working on. Let me know in the comments down below what you've been reading in the first part of the month. Have you read in the books that I've been talking about today? Let me know about that as well, and what were your thoughts on them. Also, let me know what you're reading just in general. I'd really like to know that, if you're reading anything amazing. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video very, very soon. Goodbye.